Anyway, just going to do a little how-to video and a results video. 2015 Teryx came stock with Bighorn 2.0s, 26s. I have new takeoff 27s that I'm going to have added to the rims, and I have a HighLifter 2-inch lift kit that we're going to install. So right now we have 8 psi in the front tires, 13 psi in the rear tires, and that's what I'll run the new tires at as well. So we'll get a measurement where we're at. This is 37 and 5/8 to the top of my bumper there. Let's go to the back. Yes, my garage is a disaster. I have 26 years of crap in here. And then on the back, I am the top of the tailgate. I'm 45 and 3/8. So stand by. We'll do some more when I start pulling these things off and putting in the HighLifter kit and just basics on how to get it done. Here I got all 4 tires off, took them down to a discount tire, and they're going to do that. So now we're opening up my suspension lift box. Haven't looked at this yet. I couldn't find any videos on YouTube with this, so I thought, well, I'm going to do a little one and see if this will help anybody out. They go to do this. I got this off a... I guess we're going to be smarter than the box here. Got this off Amazon Prime. Four brackets. This is a shock extension kit lift. Cool. I get a killer laser cut aluminum HighLifter emblem with self-tapping screws. I got to bolt on somewhere too. Sick. Bonus! Oh, check it out. Get the obligatory rollover hazard sticker and the HighLifter products decal as well. I'll be using that stuff and a set of instructions. Alright, read before installation. I'll tell you what, we're going to pause this, I'll read this, and we'll just kind of cover it on the Teryx. So you can see I just divvied up the parts we have here. You can see there are 2 different sets of brackets. Smaller ones for the front, bigger ones are definitely for the rear. 10mm set bolts for here, so 2 bolts, 2 lock nuts, 2 washers for each set, plus 1 spacer on each side, because you're in between where your shock normally would go onto your A-arm there. And in the back, 3 and 3 per side, 2 spacers, and only 2 lock washers. So one of these is not going to use a washer on it, but they have the nylock bolts on them as well. All right, so that's that. When you come on over to here, Sherry, sorry, my garage is an absolute disaster. 26 years of junk in here, and I'm a hoarder. All right. So on the directions, come on over here so you can see this, Sharon. Just kneel down. Kneel down there. On the directions, basically what I'm going to do is take this bolt off for the lower shock mount and pry the shock up out of there. This will in turn go over this. This is going to bolt through here. There will be a spacer that'll go in through here, and your bolt will go in there. Actually, the spacer will go in between your factory shock mount. Okay, and then this will wrap over your factory shock mount. And I'm not sure if it's from the front or the back yet. It's from the front. And that'll slide on there. Your new bolt will slide through there. Your spacer will be down in the lower part, and then now your shock will bolt back up in here. And we'll do that in just a sec. Okay, just so you know, they're 14 inch, really big bolts, 14mm bolts. Sweet. And then I'll put it down there. And of course I don't have my soft hammer, but this will tap right out pretty easy. Okay, as you can see, that falls out. Super simple. And this is really going to be a pretty quick installation. I think the back is going to go just about as fast. So now that's going to slip over there, as you can see. Okay. That's going to slip down in between before I slide the bolt through. So I'll get my shock out the way. Uh-oh. That is something I want to say, be careful of, okay? And I just did it on both of them. I thought they would stay on there. There's little plastic slide washers that go in between the bracket and the shock. And one just fell off, but there was definitely one on each side. Did you see it, Sherry? Did you see another one fall off?
No, I didn't really notice it that one.
Okay, so I found the other one. It rolled back underneath there. So again, I'm going to have my sleeve in here. This goes in between the factory shock mount, so obviously when I tighten down my new bolt, it's not going to collapse the factory welded on shock mount. Slip it through that side. One washer on the back side, and one nylock bolt, and there we go. And here we go. Slip these things back on. So these little sleeves right here, or collars, go on here, and this just helps prevent wear on the shock itself in between the shock mounts. Normally they snap on pretty tight, so I'm surprised they popped off like that. All right. Push down. One thing I can tell you I'm a little bit concerned about here is spacing. That is I got a 1/4 inch on the front and the back, so we'll pause this, figure that out, and let you know. So come on around here so they can see what I'm talking about right now. Okay, you can see on the shock bracket right there, there is slop right here and right here, and that's no bueno. I'm sure of it. So I'll get that figured out and get right back. Okay, so still don't like it, but as per the instructions, washer goes in between the shock and the new shock mount on both sides, and then there's no washer on the outside of the bolt, just the nylock bolt goes on it. So we'll try and do this. This will be clever. There we go. Alright. This bolt goes on, this washer goes on the back side here. So should get that all the way through, huh? Still is more gap than I think there should be. What I'm doing is trying to pin that washer up on the other side there. Take a little screwdriver. Ooh. There we go. Okay, 2 nylock nuts, sorry. Put those on. And I can tell you, these aren't 14s like the other ones were 14s coming off, and I think these are probably 17s, so we'll grab a 17 here real quick. And I might be crazy, it might not be a 17. My luck, it'll be a 16. No, they're 17s. Okay. And oddly enough, let's see if I got a 17 laying in this box here. Well, look at there. So tighten this thing up. I'm going to look at something here real quick. The one thing that I did notice is that the lower shock mount has a little bit of a slop in it, you can see. So it'll rock back and forth. I'm not sure exactly what that's for, but I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up so it's pushed all the way forward so I get the maximum amount of lift on that shock bracket, from that shock bracket. And all I did was hammer it so it's all the way up against the bolt on that back side. All right. And I'll snug that lower one in place. Using my redneck torque wrench. Just get her tight, baby. And now we'll tighten up the shock mount. Oddly enough, when I was looking through the instructions real quickly, it does not give me a torque spec on these. I'm not going to show you, obviously, on the passenger side, the left front unit, because it's going to be the same as this one here. When I get to the back, then we'll do another video, show you how to do the back, but it's going to be exactly the same type of thing, but we will do it for you. Stay tuned. Okay, the other side went really easily. So things are going to be a little bit different. You're going to run into here is this bracket when you disconnect the lower shock mount. This you're gonna attach loosely to the lower shock, okay? And then it's gonna swing in like so onto this. This bolt hole right here will go into the factory bolt hole. Obviously the shock will be in the top one, and you have to drill 2 new holes through the factory shock mounts down here for this, because they're putting 2 bolts down here plus a single bolt. One thing I would always say to HighLifter, and then I wish you would do this stuff to make it easier for guys. So this is 17 millimeters are the factory bolt sizes, and they're 19 for the new ones. Now I was having trouble finding my 19s, so a 3/4 will work perfect on that as well, on a 19. Anyway, so we'll do that. This bad boy broke, maybe. Which way do I gotta go here? All right. A little attitude adjustment here. Yeah. Makes it a little harder to get to this back side because of the way this A-arm is built. Instead of a standard A-arm, really just has a loop here, and then it has 2 sections that come back to it here. Kind of a funky design, but it works well. It's got good geometry. I love this thing. It's a beast. Alright, and you won't be using this factory bolt anymore, although I probably could. Now, when I push this down and get it out of my way, there's going to be 2 rubber like grommets here that you need to make sure you don't lose as well, because that's going to go back in. Whoops. And we're going to go back in from this side. I'm going to try and do it this way. Let's see. Let's see how I can do her. Alright. And again, so in between the shock and the inside of the bracket here you're going to use these washers. Alright. This is kind of a pain in the butt right here, I'll tell you that. I'll do it like this for right now. Go. I'll tell you though, other than having to drill 2 holes here, this is a pretty quick install. Push this bolt all the way through a little bit and just give yourself enough space so you don't keep dropping that washer. Just apply pressure and then push the washer until bolt pops through. There you go. Get that back out the way. Well, that's going to be fabulously fun. You know, usually we're really meticulous about this thing, so anytime we're done with the ride, we come back, it gets fully washed. I got lazy on this last one that we went on at the end of last year, and when was it, October? I didn't wash this dumb thing. I'm a little bit upset at myself right now because I'm working in dirt. I can tell you right now, I got a beef with this, so we're gonna time this out and I'll come back to you once I figure out what the heck we're gonna do, because this is not, let me see that phone. Sorry guys. Okay, you can see where the factory A-arm comes around here, and then these two, that allows it to swing around that shock. But on the factory mount, when the shock is down here, this bolt sits underneath this tube. Now it's right here next to it, and there's really not enough room to do this. So I will be trying to figure that bad boy out. I might have to reverse that around and put the nut on the outside. So that's what I'm going to try. We'll be right back. Well, if all else fails, just go ahead and look at the instructions. So on this top piece, they have the bolt going in from the back side, so you don't have that big nut there. You just have the bolt head there. So I just had to quickly loosen it up. 'Cause remember, it was only finger tight anyway. Slip that through. That same thing here, except that bad boy is in the way. So it's kind of a pain in the battissimo. Got myself, let it slip down there. Come on, baby. There we go. Okay, yeah, and that'll clear that on that end. So put a nylock bolt on there. Sorry, I keep calling it a bolt, nylock nut. And then what we'll do is get that in place, get that other one there. Now this one here, you can do it either way you want. I'm going to go ahead and come in from the back side. Since that's the way I'm going to do these, I'll do all these from the back side. Don't forget, got 2 of the... Boy, oh boy, oh boy, Alberta. All right. So let me see that camera. So I'm going to tell these guys we're going to have to finagle, and I'll show you how we get it accomplished. But I'm going to have to think about it for a little bit. So got these spacers that are going to have to be used in between the factory for these new bolts. So bolt will go through here, through both the new bracket, the factory bracket, and then through the spacer and then out the other side. But on the front shocks, the bracket slips over the outside, so the entire back's open. But now you can see this is the only area I have to work with right here, because the way this bracket has to go on, it almost completely seals off the backside, which is going to make it a real pain in the butt. So Gonna figure this one out. I probably have to install this, tighten this up, drill that hole, retake this bolt out, but I'll consult the instructions on that, but retake that bolt out, and then so I can get the lower spacer in first and that bolt, and then put this top spacer in here and the top bolt here back in place. So I'll let you know when I get it all done, or figured out.
Okay.
Actually.
Back again, and this is what we decided to do, or I decided to do. I consulted the instructions and didn't like what they had to say, so I slipped them down inside. As you can kind of see, that one's in there, and I didn't have a smaller one. Mine was a bigger one, but I have a lighted flexi magnet. It's got a light on the end and stuff like that, so when you're looking down by the motors. Anyway, so I was able to just grab that, hold that up, and as I can see with the other one, there's enough room in here before I put any other nuts on there. There's enough room for me to be able to grab that and to pull it up into place after I drill the hole in here. Now, obviously you want to always consult your instructions on this and follow what they have to say, not just me, but I'm giving you a visual video. But one of the things that you have to do, this bracket right here on the back side, back in here, will rub against the CV boot and cause that to tear or wear with time if you do not properly get this thing in here. So this thing has to be pushed back, and this has to be up here tight and snug into place before you mark and drill your holes here. And what I'm going to do is I'll pulling this up, and I'll be tightening this top bolt down and this shock bolt down, and making sure this does not move out of place, and stretch this back and get this thing on here a little cockeyed. As you can see, it needs to be pushed back and up like so, and all the way down. Oops, sorry, pushed back and like so. You have to lift the lower control arm and hold that in place before you mark this and drill it. Otherwise, sorry, I'm trying to do this without my wife now. Otherwise, you can have a lot of problems with the backside corner right here rubbing the CV boot. All right, and I'll wait for my wife to get back out here. Wrap this around. Your one-man job in this thing. I think there's enough slack for you to have this wrench on here. I hope and I pray. Okay, and this A-arm will hold tension on here while you tighten that up. What I'm using is a one-man operation, about a 4-foot 2x4. Just pulling up on this, making sure that's pushed forward and flat against this bottom bracket right here. And that's on there. I'm gonna snug this bad boy up so we do not get any movement of that bracket. Okay, so that bracket's back, and looking back on this back side, it's not going to hit anywhere on the CV. There's enough clearance there, probably 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, so not going to be any problems with there poking out. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark this on both the front and the back. And you know, I was looking at this pretty close, you guys, and there's no way to even mark it from here. It's going to be really difficult, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. This will be an easy mark and an easy drill to get through this outer factory plate, but this inner one, your axle shaft right here is right in front of that, so I can't even get a drill on here, a drill bit straight on there. I would have to come in at some kind of an angle, so I'm going to have to come through and do my best to get this thing all the way straight through, which is a scary proposition. So if I had enough flexibility, I might consider unbolting this top A-arm, but that really doesn't gain me anything, because I don't think there's enough flex in these joints to get this lower A-arm down far enough to where I can actually drill from the back side. But we'll be back. Stay tuned. And that's me. Well, I had to do some redneck in here because there is no way, like I said before, it's easy to mark this front
hole for your drilling. There's no way to mark it as this is all connected for the back. Now it's really easy to disconnect. So the hub assembly right here. So for the upper control arm and the lower control arm right here, it's just one 14 millimeter bolt and nut on the back side. Just remember this. It's going to be bolt with a washer against this side. There's going to be a steel washer here in between the bracket or the A-arm, control arm, and the hub assembly on both sides. And then it goes through the back side of the A-arm bracket, and there's a washer and a nut that goes on there. But anyway, for the top and bottom, they're the same exact assembly, top and bottom. There's no way to get back here to mark this. So I'll show you what I had to do here. Sorry. Disconnected all that, and then that gives me room to access that. Now what I did was just took one of my tie straps here and wrapped it around the frame right there, up underneath the axle shaft, which also pulled up the upper control arm bushing. And now you can see I have a lot of access. I also had to take this off, 10 millimeter nuts off the factory bracket right here, and that's just kind of a little factory cheesy plastic shield, protective shield on that for the boot itself, so no stick goes right in here and shears or punctures your CV boot. So anyway, I'm going to mark that, and then I'll put the bolt through, and I'm going to mark it, then I'm going to loosen this stuff off. I was going to use just this as a template to go ahead and use my 1/2-inch drill bit, which it doesn't say anywhere in the instructions on what size to use, but that's a 1/2-inch drill bit that you're going to use. I did mark it with the drill bit so it was all centered in there, and you can see the drill bit mark right there. And then I'm going to unbolt this and move that out of my way before I drill it. Otherwise, I can sit here and hog this out a little bit. If I'm not completely perfect in that hole, I can oblong this or get this out of shape, and I don't want to do that. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, peeps. I didn't want you to see any of that really terrible job that I did here. But let me have the phone and I'll explain what went on here. So, as I told you, the pitfalls of marking this bracket. So I bolted the bracket tightly into place here, and then marked here, came around to the other side with my drill and marked there. Then I took the whole bracket off so it was out of my way and drilled the holes. Well, lo and behold, the back hole was a good bit off. So I essentially had to put the drill bit through this side and hog out the hole on this side here, which hogged that out a little bit. This hole remains perfect because that was the factory hole. Now that stuff's good. It's bolted in there secure. It won't give me any kind of problems or anything like that, but that was pretty piss poor on my part. So I'll hand it back to Sherry and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bolt this back together here with the A-arms. Pull the A-arm, put my washers on here, slip the A-arm up, and then run the bolt through washer first, and slide the bolt through, and then on the back side washer, then the nut. So here you go, Sherry. All right. That was a sad day. What should have took very little time, really very little time, took me quite a bit longer than it should have because of that really terrible job of drilling or marking that I did. Not proud of that. Not proud at all. But it's done. Dang it, it's gonna work good. So anyway, that washer goes on there. Jesus, it just wants to rotate around. And it'll slide back down into the A-arm. Your bolt. Okay. Washer on first. See where we're at, that big boy. Push it all the way through to the back. washer on, nut on. Just finger tied it there. Okay, 2 big washers slip on here. It's going to be a little more difficult because I'm going to have to pull this up into place, I think. Maybe not. Nope. Okay. Stay. Remember, bolt, washer first. Okay. Don't give me any crap. Not in the mood. But I kept a calm head. And again, these are 14s here. Where'd my other 14 go? I haven't been anywhere. Right there. And these were pretty dang snug. Just FYI. Which is a good thing. Do this. Okay. That's nice and snug. Now let's do the bottom one. Now, I'm going to warn you for you guys who go, what the heck is he doing with that other wrench? It just gives me leverage, but it's a good knuckle buster if you're not careful. So take it slow and easy and always keep the pressure applied and make sure that the wrench is square. There we go. That side. Now, I was going to say it's finito, but it's not quite. Gotta put my oh, that's odd. Anyway, gotta put my CV joint or CV boot protector back on here. Don't run without that. I can see that also getting under here all the rocks and stuff that we've gone over. I should have bought a plate here. I bent this. Didn't bend the A-arm or anything like that, but there's a flat trim plate here if you're going to bolt on accessories from Kawasaki or whoever, and I can see that I bent that. I think it's a good idea for me to go get A-arm protectors because we do a lot of riding over some rough stuff, you know, and I don't purposely try to bang down on rocks or anything like that, you know, because you're going to damage your machine. Well, A-arms, the frame on these things are just killer. So I'm not worried about any of that kind of stuff. But you don't want your CV boot to get punched when you're out four-wheeling and a stick comes up there and blasts that. So, there you have it. Take your time drilling this bottom hole front and back. Again, I broke down the A-arms, took out the 2 bolts here off the axle housing and everything, the hub housing, because that allowed me to move this up there, use my rope, my tie, go around the frame here and pull all that stuff up out of the way so I could get at this and actually drill it and actually have some movement there. So pay close attention to that. They don't really talk about it in the instructions, and I should have showed you what I did and my mistakes, but it's not real easy. They make it look real easy in the picture here. Well, the front is easy, the back is not easy. So I'll avoid that crap drill job I did on the other side. But good four-wheeling. Okay, wanted to give you a little of an update.
Okay, y'all. Wanted to give you an update before I finish here. So this is what I did on this side. I wasn't going to do it on the other side because I didn't want to ruin the holes here on the lift bracket. But from the problems that I experienced with the other one, I was like, I'm not going through that again. So it worked out extremely well. Again, 1/2-inch drill bit. Got this in here, got this set up all in place properly, and then bolted it down tight here. I'll take that bolt back out and take this. Well, really, I don't need to. I can slip the spacer down in there. But anyway, that way now I have a really square hole. Drill bit goes straight through. My drill bit goes straight through the other side. I don't have any problem when I put the spacer in there. Those holes are nice. The other side was rednecked on the bottom hole, but this one's going to go together great. So now again, I did go ahead and do the same thing. Took the 14mm bolt and nut off the top and bottom A-arms to disconnect all this stuff. Used my tie strap to pull up all out of the way so I could drop this A-arm down. As you can see here, shock's loose. So I'll just put the spacer in here, run this bolt in here, tighten this up. 2 washers will bolt through here. A washer on the inside between the shock and between the bracket, and then your nut on the outside, and then bolt this stuff back together and it'll be done. And then I just went and got the tires from America's Tire, or Discount Tire now, and then I'll set the pressure to 8 pounds in the front, 13 pounds in the rear, and then I'll remeasure the top of the front bumper height and the top of the tailgate height, and that'll let me know what 27s versus 26s with this 2-inch HighLifter kit all installed, what it'll actually give me. All right, stand by. Okay, didn't take very long, but it's all bolted back into place, as you can see. 3 bolts. Had a great, perfect drill on this particular one. Axle and the hub and everything, so I'll bolt it back into place. The only thing I've got left to do is that CD joint, or CD boot guard that bolts right back there. But as you can see, I mean, it was noticeably lower when I did the front and I did the rear, and it's not really a good gauge of it, but when I did those and put the spacer on, that side definitely was pushed down a good couple of inches. So again, the proof is in the pudding. So when I get the tires to 8 pounds in the front, 13 pounds in the rear, bolted back on here and get this thing back down on the ground here in about a half hour or so, then I'll be able to remeasure and give the real height between adding an inch bigger tire, same brand, and a 2-inch HighLifter shock lift on this thing. Now, the tires that I had taken off, they had some pretty hard miles on them. They're probably about 50 or 60%, so I lost maybe a quarter inch or so, maybe, yeah, probably quarter inch in height just from the wear on that tire. So that'll add a little bit on these new 27s. So anyway, I'll let you know. Okay, all done. Tires on, everything. 8 pounds in the front, 13 in the rear. We were 37 5/8 to the top of the bumper before. 37 5/8. Let's see where we're at. We are at 40 3/16. 40 3/16. Do the math. I got about 2.5 inches of lift there. And at the back, oh, it's dark, but at the back we were 45 3/8 at the top of the tailgate. Bounce this a couple of times. Again, 45 3/8. We are now oh, 47 and just under a half. So didn't get 2 inches in the back with an inch bigger tire, which would be a 1/2 inch of lift and 2 inches of lift. So I'll be letting HighLifter know
that they didn't measure up. Thanks for watching.